when you look back at your big league career, what stands out? What are some of your best memories and some things maybe that you wish that you could have done differently?
I mean, I think overall, like obviously, getting drafted was obviously a big thing that I was trying to accomplish at a young age. So to just get that opportunity, I think I had expectations that were a little bit higher than what I achieved, but things happened along the way. I got opportunities, and I took the most of them as I could. And I mean, I had a crazy first week of my big leagues. I think that's the highlight of my career, which is kind of funny if you think about it. But I mean, I came in. I think I homered and doubled in my first game. I hit a walk off in the first week on the guy that closed the All Star game, Craig Knable. So for me, it was a cool first week. What came after that was ups and downs.
All right. Well, first of all, you finished your big league career with less home runs than me, so I pretty much make sure I have to make sure everybody knows that. I just looked it up. So there's that. But we were just talking about a guy named Dalton Rushing who just got called up to be a backup. He was a big time prospect. Do you feel like a prospect can get called up to the big leagues and not play every day and have success? Or you feel like it's setting you up for failure if you do that?
I think it's tough, dude, because like you go from, especially if you're mentioning like top prospect guy that gets a lot of opportunities, a guy that knows every single day that he's going to be in that lineup regardless of, who gets called up around him in the minor leagues I'm speaking about. So when you get to the big leagues and you're used to playing every single day and your numbers not being called upon as often, it I feel like it's hard, dude. I mean, you sit there for 6, 7 innings and you get thrown in the eighth or the ninth, and it's the best guys on the mound, and it's not easy. So I think it's one of those things where you're learning on the fly as you go, and obviously, you're trying your hardest, but some of these guys you have no chance against. So it's, they're kind of stacking you up against the eight ball, I think.
So you're from small town Georgia. You went to small town Cleveland when you were drafted, and you played small town minor league baseball, and then you get traded. You were the throw in the JP Fireeisen trade and the Ben Keller trade for Andrew Miller, but you were the marquee piece coming back in that trade. Which was tougher for you, New York fans or New York media? Being 22 years old, being the next hope for the Indians, because I can say the Indians, they were the Indians at that time. So who was
They
tougher,
were.
the media or the fans?
I think the media. I think that like, there was a because like here's the thing, dude. Like I came in not knowing anything about New York baseball, right? Like I genuinely did not watch baseball growing up as a kid. If I did, it was like Ryan Howard was the only guy that I really focused on. And I really didn't know much beyond his years. So when I come in week one, they're asking me if I asked Mickey Mantle's number to be unretired so I could wear it. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't even know what number this guy wears. And I'm being told by people with the Yankees, like, you cannot say that. And the only people that were asking me the questions that backed me into a bad corner were the media. So for me, I felt like they saw that, I was going to give an authentic answer. I was going to be honest. And I genuinely, at 22 years old, had no idea that I was kind of being fleeced into, some clickbait headlines until eventually I read a few of them and I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're going with right now. So, every now and then I would lean into the questions and give them what they wanted. But, there was obviously times when I was like, I don't want to deal with this guy today. So I'm going to be vanilla.
Hey, Clint, it's crazy what you're talking about and how they tried to get you to do this. But was there a veteran guy that grabbed you and said, "Hey, you don't have to do this. You don't have to speak about this. You don't have to answer this question. You can give the Derek Jeter, say a bunch of words and don't really say anything, and they'll all love you no matter what." There was no veteran that grabbed you and said, "Hey, let's do this a little bit differently."
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I can't remember a specific moment where somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, brother, you need to go this direction instead of going that direction." And ultimately, I I genuinely like, and I say this with no like no disdain, no nothing towards anyone. Like I never really had somebody that actually took me under their wing and stuck with me the whole time. Maybe it was in short bits I had somebody that was trying to help me along the way, but it was never like if there was issues with what Red Thunder was doing, it was all behind the scenes and no one ever pulled me to the side to kind of like help me. I went through a lot of stuff that was silently going on behind the scenes that I would find out from, just being around people and seeing how they were acting.
All right. So one of the things that was behind the scenes and came out was what Dellin Betances said, the story of your Jordan contract. Can you tell your side of it? Because Dellin went on the Altcast the other day and told his side of it and how Gardy pranked you a little bit.
So just to clarify, when I saw that on my timeline, that was the first time that I had found out that Gardy was involved in this. I like honestly, bro, I can say it with like all love. Gardy was probably my favorite teammate that I had in New York. He was the funniest guy. He was good to me. He was good to everybody. So for Gardy to go that long and never bring it up to me, that's kind of messed up, dude. Because I hung out with him a lot, so it does feel like a Gardy prank, but it feels like it was executed by CC. So for me, like I'll just keep it straight. Like look, man, I was trying to wear Jordan cleats during the 2019 season, and I don't really know what was going on that year. I had a lot going on, but I was putting cleats on the bottom of shoes. I was spending a lot of money on stuff that was really just not needed to be spent on in the shoe world. So I started to do this, and it got a lot of attention on social media. I did a really good job at like posting some pictures, posting some comments, like trying to engage with people to let them know that what I was going to be wearing that night. And I just happened to have three teammates who were signed by Jordan who thought that that was kind of corny on the other side. So for me, it was like, hey, like I'm doing the best that I can. This is an attempt to try to get a Jordan deal. This is the best I've got. And so, I show up to Yankee Stadium one day. There's this vanilla folder just sitting on my locker. Like thinking about it now, like it's super suspicious because I don't even know if there was like a postage note from it. But I open it up and it's this white letter. And I actually spent hours looking for this letter. It's in my house. I know it's here because I kept it because I was like, I have to keep this regardless of if it's real or not. But the most convincing thing was that the letter, like the paper was so thick. Like it was so professional. The way they stamped the Jordan logo into the top, I was like, I mean, from the beginning, I was like, somebody of some good stature sent me this, and I did it. So I started going around, started asking some players, like, hey, like, what do you got on this? And everyone's like, yeah, that's good, that's good. Like, I think I talked to CC, I think I talked to Hicks, but the guy that sold me the most was Dellin. Like, Dellin was good to me. We didn't have a lot of interactions. So when Dellin was like, hey man, I got that letter too. Like Dellin has no idea, but that sold me. Like that's when I was like, I'm a Jordan guy. That's it. I'm a Jordan guy. Dellin said he got the letter. I'm in. He was the only one that I believed, right? So a few days go by, and I mean a few days. He said it was 24 hours. That is not what happened because what followed was the Red Sox series where I had a bad game and I got Jessica Mendoza sitting in the booth holding a pair of my shoes saying like these are so sweet. But on the flip side, I'm in right field just like a casualty out there dropping three fly balls. So she goes from like talking good about my cleats to talking bad about how I'm playing. And so I single-handedly lose the Red Sox game that night, basically, and come back to my locker and change. And there's like I don't know, man. I mean, it was like a block party inside of Yankee Stadium locker room with the media, like 100 of them there, like just feasted. So they're waiting for me. I go off. I took a phone call from somebody that I needed to talk to and ended up not talking to the media. So a few days go by, right? Like the Red Sox series finishes. We go to Toronto the next night. We have an off day. There's plenty of time to tell me that this letter is fake. And nobody tells me. I actually went to Gardy's room because he checked on me that night. Um, and then the next day I'm sitting in the locker room and CC comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, cuz, that letter's fake, dude." And I had already made 50 phone calls, dude, trying to confirm that this was real. Like my agents called the Jordan people and they're like, "We did not send that letter." So, they got me and I felt like it was a little too far because I didn't have a good relationship with a couple of the people involved. So for them to do that felt a little more cruel than a prank to me.
All right. Well, was it cruel this year when you saw a Yankees game and dudes started having a little bit longer hair and a little bit more beards? Like, dude, you tried to when you got traded over from the Indians,
God,
you had your red thunder hair, and they said what to you?
you gotta chop the locks, kid, immediately. I mean, I remember specifically Jenny Steinbrenner seeing me for the first time and coming up to me and like grabbing my hair and being like, I can't wait for this to be cut. And this was in the off season. So like I knew right then and there, I was like, this is not gonna be good. Cause I'm not the type to want to do things the first time you ask me. And I tried to buck the system and certainly kept the hair above the shoulders, but man, it seemed like it was like all the way down my back the way that it was being covered. I think it was because it was red hair, dude. If it was blonde, I don't think anyone would have cared.
So what did you think when they got rid of the beard policy?
I was just highly offended, man. I was highly offended that because I felt like I was one of the guys there that certainly was trying to like push the envelope, like the whole 2020 season underneath my COVID mask. Like I had a full beard that year, so I was already trying to like go certain routes and hide the stuff. And when they got rid of it, like 1 year after I'm gone, I was like, you got it. That felt personal now that I'm actually thinking about it. That feels personal a little bit.
It's summertime, and if you want to let it all flow out, but the hair is thinning, there is a solution for you. And Kratz, it's called Nutrafol. Tell the people what they need to do.
It's easy. You just got to hit up Nutrafol.com and use our code FOUL. And I'll tell you why, because you're going to have thicker hair. That's it. If that's your desire, you want thicker hair, there's no other place to go than Nutrafol.com and use the code FOUL for us.
#1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, they're offering the FT fam $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and you enter the promo code FOUL, FOUL. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair.
Clint, I want to know, if you look back at your career, now that you're done playing, you had good numbers at AAA every time you were down there, and then you got to the big leagues. You had some ups and downs, obviously. What's the biggest difference in AAA and the big leagues as far as hitting-wise, pitching-wise? What's the difference?
I think that like one of the big things that I noticed in AAA versus the major leagues is that like when you're in the minor leagues, it's like there's really not guys that you look at and you're like, wow, like I haven't seen something like this before. And then another thing that stood out the most to me is when I'm standing in the outfield, like there's a whole other deck to these stadiums. Like the amount of people that fill these stadiums and the eyes on you, it creates like this aura around the players when you got Aroldis Chapman coming out of the bullpen and the whole stadium's lighting up with flames. And you're like, I didn't see that in AAA. Like I didn't get that experience. So I think for me, it's just like you see these guys and you feel like you're supposed to be there. And once you get there, they're there. You got 1 second to make an adjustment to hit off these guys. And it's a lot of established big leaguers that have faced people that are certainly more capable or have accomplished more in their careers than what I've done in my short career. So I'm just like I'm David versus Goliath. Like I think that's really what it comes down to is that the older that I say this, the older that I got in baseball, the more I started to realize that like there's levels to the preparation that these pitchers and players have. They're a little bit older, and there's tricks and things that they can do to get you to fall bait to the things that they want you to swing at. And I fell bait to plenty of things because of, just being a younger guy, not being around the block, and not having a lot of experience compared to some of the guys that were in the major leagues for many years beyond whenever I got there.
When you were in the minor leagues with the Yankees, did you feel like at one point coming over from the Indians, they were a little too analytical, a little too just in that direction for you?
I mean, I remember being told by a specific person in the analytics department that they didn't believe in like players getting hot, you know, and that was all analytically driven. And that was their way of saying, like, for instance, like I could be 55 for 55, and they would be like, he's not hot. Like he's gonna cool down. Like they believed you were what you were. And in my mind, I was like, but that's not using your eyes. You know what I mean? Like this guy's on a scorcher right now, and like you got to run with that sometimes. And so yeah, like I do feel like they hired a few too many rocket scientists to try to like make the lineup instead of just like letting a former player or a guy that has more experience write the lineup.
That's funny. Yeah, well, analytics don't believe that you're a human being. Just always remember that. I mean, analytics are good for some things, but you're never hot, you're never cold, you're just a robot. You're never mad at the person at home. Your kids are never sick. Your dog was never sick, didn't keep you up all night. You're just a robot. So always remember that. Always remember that you're a robot. Now you got to experience what I like to call the White Sox experience. Okay, after
Dude,
I was
let's
gone, please
go.
explain the difference between the Yankees and the White Sox experience. They would let you have long hair, but you had it was a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I left my White Sox hat sitting upstairs and I almost wore it for you. Like dude, it's the only baseball hat that I wear. I'm so proud to be able to say that I was a Chicago White Sox for so many reasons. So like I'll be honest, like AJ, that was the most fun I've ever had in a baseball experience. But it was not like as a fan, for what the reason I was having fun was like you don't want me to have fun for those reasons. Like it was
Well, tell the
not
reasons. Tell the
for
reason.
the
Like, why
good.
were you having fun there and not in other places?
It was brother, when I got there, I just specifically remember being told, like, I'm not gonna throw people under the bus, but it was a staff member being like, we got a lot of superstars that don't want to act like superstars. And he's like, I need you to bring some energy because these guys do not hustle. They don't try hard. Dude, I saw what looked to be like 8 different season-ending injuries to like the naked eye, all for them to go to the hospital, get diagnosed, and like not even a bruise. And it was just like these guys didn't want to play. Like they didn't want to do stuff. I remember specifically like one dude's laying on the ground in the batter's box, like looked like he broke his back. And I looked at the trainer and was like, "What's going on?" He's like, dude, that's just normal, man. Like we're not gonna go out there and check on that. And I was like, this is crazy. Like this is crazy. And I mean, got between being in hitters meetings and guys being on their phones while the manager's trying to hype people up, like just like straight like I mean, challenging the people that were in charge was all I saw. Like prisoners running the asylum, no doubt. There was no they put a group of guys together that was like a militia. Like they were not gonna go down. It was great. The players.
Which would you rather have? It sounds like you're saying no rules White Sox to all the rules Yankees. Which would you rather have?
White Sox all day, dude. Like that was like if the Red Sox got a documentary, the White Sox are so much more deserving of it from the like if you want to get the fans involved and see what's really going on in these locker rooms, you had to have been in that 2023 Chicago White Sox locker room. Like there was that was I can't even I don't want to do that to certain people, but that was the most fun I've ever had. I'll just say that.
Wait, can you give me anything else? You don't have to say any names at all. Not asking for names.
You can say a name. Lance Lynn.
Well, Lance is our buddy. But,
He's my pal.
was there anything else that you observed there that was different from the rest of your experiences? As you mentioned, there were guys that didn't want to play. Anything else that you would be there and look at and be like, this is documentary worthy. This is not what I've seen anywhere else.
I'll give you one thing, because this is unlike any experience I've ever had. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want it, because some people are still playing, right? I'll just beat around the bush. But there was a time where a player did not hustle down the line, and in his eyes, he didn't know where the ball went, is what he said, right? Like he swung and didn't know where the ball went and had no idea that it went in play, and that's why he didn't run. But in the manager's eyes, like, he was not going to have that. So he went over to this certain individual and was like, what the hell? Or sorry, like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you hustling? Like, I'm going to take you out the game. And this was like the first couple days I was there. This guy looked back at the manager and was just basically like, if you take me out this game, we're going to have a serious problem. And the guy was like, are you threatening me? And he goes, take me out this game, we're going to have a serious problem. And like, this guy did not come out the game. And I was like, holy, like, this guy he just threatened the manager. Like, we're gonna have a serious problem if you take me out this game. And like, I had never, and he stayed in the game and was in the lineup every day moving forward. Like, it was like, wow, who's really running this team?
That's good. Have you seen that before?
Have I ever seen? Well,
Threatening?
listen, I'll tell you this story about the White Sox. This is, and it's not even on this level, but Brian Anderson, who was a first-round pick for the White Sox, right? They were going to send him to AAA because he couldn't hit. And he goes, if you send me to AAA, I'm going to become a pitcher. And they're like, excuse me, which he did later in his career. But he goes, if you send me to AAA, I'm going to become a pitcher. And they go, so you'd rather just never play in the big leagues or go to AAA and be a pitcher? And he's like, yeah, I'll stay in the big leagues. They're like, okay, fine, you can stay. They didn't send him down.
It
They
worked?
literally they asked him, would you rather be in the big leagues or go to AAA? And he's like, big leagues. They're like, what if you never play? He's like, I'd still rather stay. And they go, okay, well, we're probably going to send you down. He goes, if you send me down, I'm going to become a pitcher. And they're like, okay, you can stay. Didn't send him down.
So it worked.
It worked.
The threat worked.
It worked.
Yes.
And then he became a pitcher later, but still.
Epic. All right, we're
Yeah.
tight on time. I got one more for Clint. Back to the Yankees for a moment, because you talked about your experiences. You've been really vocal about, how it's tough for a young player to especially go through a system like that, media like that. Somebody who's pretty quiet on the team now, hasn't become a superstar, was highly touted. Anthony Volpe seems to be the guy that Yankee fans are picking on right now. His defense is taking a step back. His bat's okay. What would be your advice for someone like him to try and get through that?
I don't know Anthony beyond meeting him in the lobby at Yankee Stadium the day that he got drafted, right? I didn't have much interactions around him, but if I could give him any advice, it would be like, brother, we got to get off social media. Like, I know that everyone says they're not affected by the things. Like, you would have to get off of it. You'd have to just trust what got you there. Like, I know that Volpe's in a tough situation because, like, Didi Gregorius was there. Jeter was obviously there. Like, there's a lot of big shoes that he's having to fill. And, I know that he's got it in him, but like, I think he's just one of these guys, bro, that the media is just picking on because they're running out of people to go after. And so if he can find a way to silence that outside noise, pressure does one of two things. It creates diamonds or it busts pipes. And so find a way to be that diamond in the rough that the Yankees are hoping that you can be in, and just no pressure, man. Like, I know that's tough to say, but like, you're struggling right now. So what's the worst that can happen if you go out there and just try to like play as free as you can and just ultimately just be what Anthony Volpe wants to be? It's like, there's no better person to be than yourself. So don't try to fill the shoes of someone else.
Yeah, I like it. Especially that first part too. Just get off socials for a little bit.
Yes.
Don't look, because the fans, it's more the fans than the media on this one. Like, we have our Yankee show Pinstripe Territory, and I listened last night, and whoo, they were bringing it. They're like, we're done. He's not our shortstop anymore. I'm like, relax. But that's what you get here. The expectations are higher when you're with an organization that has a massive fan base
and they're expected to win.
That is expecting to win. And he was originally looked at as, oh, he's going to be a superstar. He hasn't been a superstar yet for the first few seasons. So anyway, it's interesting. But I'm just like, man, he does have a Gold Glove. Yeah, defense took a step back this year. Bat has taken a step forward.
Gold Gloves are great, but
what's next?
Fans don't really care. Right? I mean, Clint, tell me if I'm wrong. Right? Gold Gloves are great and all, but like, oh, cool, he plays great defense. Can he get me a hit? Like, especially in New York, like they got a hit.
Yeah, I mean, I came in. COVID season came in second in the Gold Glove, and everyone knew that was fake. So like for me, it's just like I only got a Gold Glove because I could hit, and I fully believe that. So like, bro, like I said, I mean, if Cashman is looking me in the face and say hits bring you friends, like then I don't really care about the glove as much as I do about the bat.
Yep. I love that he was wearing the beard under the mask too. Yeah. I didn't even realize that. That's good. That's
year,
sneaky.
Dude.
Yeah.
Whole year.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.